Hey, welcome to the Drev and Stone podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man?
It's going really, really well.
I feel like it's been about 2 weeks since we've hung out.
Yeah, something like that.
I mean, in terms of episode land.
It was also last month.
Whoa. You just blew my mind.
Yeah.
We last recorded in October?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, welcome to November. We did it. We made it.
Is today what is today in reality?
The second?
That sounds right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So it comes out on the 9th. This episode releases on the 9th, I think. That sounds right.
Yeah, because we had an episode drop today.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the episode
our
November episode. That was, with W.D. O'Connell.
Dahi O'Connell, yeah. That's such a good episode, man. It turned out really well. A little behind the scenes. Kyle's getting some things figured out over there for everybody joining us on YouTube and Patreon. But a little bit of behind the scenes with that episode. We recorded with Dahi. It was a lot of fun. Super awesome guy. Knew what was going on. Knows whiskey in and out. And the episode itself can only be described in terms of editing as a nightmare.
As sheer hell.
Sheer hell. Had nothing to do with Kyle. Had nothing to do with me. Had nothing to do with Dahi. Had everything to do with how we recorded it. And the fact I didn't save halfway through the editing process. So it takes, on average, Kyle, it takes about time and a half to time and 3/4 to edit an episode.
Right.
So everybody knows, if an episode is 45 minutes, it roughly takes, let's call it 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours to edit.
Right.
And that's just normal.
Right.
And if you talk to podcasters, that's kind of normal too. This one took 7 or 8 hours. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun, and man, I might go so far as to say that's one of my favorite episodes, and it just released last week.
Super cool.
And it is already breaking all the records.
Yeah. I noticed re-listening to it myself, it definitely occurred to me at some point when you know you're talking to somebody about a thing that you really enjoy,
yeah,
but they know way more than you do. And I just remember being like, wow. You're talking about things that I don't think I've ever even considered.
Right. Well, the question about ABV, which I thought was such an interesting question, where he's talking about moving through the ABV.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's how that's done?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Find the sweet spot.
Find that sweet
Go
spot.
all the way down to 75.
Yeah.
Just to see what's underneath.
Wow.
That's nuts.
And to me,
and what a cool opportunity. What a cool thing.
Oh, for sure. And to me, just in that situation, thinking about the artistry behind that,
yeah.
We oftentimes are 96. Why did you choose 96 to bottle this at?
Right.
But hearing it from that perspective, that's oh.
Yeah.
Because that was the best ABV that I could find within this bottling. And that's super cool.
Yeah.
I love that.
Totally.
Yeah. Anyway. So that was last week's episode.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
How about we get to this week's episode?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So we have something really special this week.
Cool. How special is it?
What more do you want than really?
Oh, no.
That's all I got. That's the only superlative.
That's the best superlative.
Very special?
Very.
Ooh.
Yeah.
2 varies. Do those cancel each other out, or does it make it extra?
Yeah, I think they multiply upon each other.
Interesting.
It's kind of like raising the power.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Exponentially,
well, in this case,
an exponent.
Is that how that works? Math?
Sure.
Okay. This is the Highland Park single malt Scotch whiskey.
We love Highland Park.
Do you love some Highland Park? Do you remember where Highland Park's from?
Scotland. Is that what you're going?
Well, I was saying what region?
It's a Highland?
It's not.
No?
It's an Orcadian Scotch from the Orkney Islands, which I guess technically is somehow part of Islay, or not Islay, Highland. I think it's called an island Scotch. I don't know. I'm making these things up.
Man.
You looking it up?
Sure.
Oh, okay. Anyway, this is the single cask series, the Gulf Coast edition from Highland Park. It's in this fancy, look at that, burlap sack.
Yeah. That's not even cheap.
No, it's actually
good.
This was not a cheap bottle, by the way.
Just so we all know.
Just so everybody knows. But it's quite possible that $50 worth of this bottle was in this sexy bag. Anyway.
That's sexy bag.
Sexy bag. Let me open the bag so I can show everybody on the video the bottle. The bottle itself is kind of understated though. See? Understated. but it's not bad.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, it's like a regular. I don't know. I feel like there's usually more going on the bottle,
Yeah, I
like more
think so,
of the
too.
like the embossment and stuff.
The Viking kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is actually, from what I could tell in the research that I did, this is a Florida specific thing. Gulf Coast. I think it was only released here in Florida, which I find really, really interesting. It comes in at 65.8%. 131.2.
0.6.
Thank you, math. 131.6.
Yeah, that's
So it's cask strength, bud.
damn.
Yeah. That might be one of the highest scotches we've done. I mean, it's definitely up there. What was the Corey reckon? In the 120s?
Yeah, I don't think it was in the 130s.
Yeah, this is
This
up
has
there,
got to
dude.
be. Yeah, this has got to be like the highest scotch that we've done.
So in terms of the research that I did, it is an unrepeatable single cask release from Highland Park, created exclusively for Florida.
Cool.
Yeah, and I looked at a couple different websites. The whiskey has been matured for 11 years. So it was first bottled in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Distilled.
Cask or distilled in 2007.
Yep.
Bottled in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was in there for 11 years, matured for 11 years. Wait, does that math add up?
It'd probably be like 11 years and
In a bit.
some months.
Yeah. Okay. And it is, let's see, it is a first fill European oak sherry.
But
Says
says it B-U-T-T.
B-U-T-T.
But
The one that I saw, it says punchin', which I don't know if that's the butt.
punching your butt.
And it's bottled at cask strength. It's a natural color, and it's only limited to 549 bottles.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a pretty rare.
Couldn't get that one more bottle. Couldn't squeeze out the
550.
Make it 550.
They're like, the
Give me
distiller's
them
like,
staves.
that one's mine.
Yeah, no,
some
you're
sort
probably
of
right.
press.
Yeah, no, we're gonna keep that one.
Well, we're gonna make it odd. It's got to be 549. Yeah.
Single cask series.
Yeah.
So you think that's a single cask that they were able to get 549 bottles out of it?
I'm
Like
gonna
a giant
say,
cask.
yeah, I was gonna say like it's probably one of those like big boy casks, not like the standard bourbon cask, but it is sherry. So I know like sherry, obviously a type of wine, so it's gonna be in a bigger cask. I don't know if it's like a. In fact, Dahi mentioned like bigger casks, like wine casks tend to be way bigger than like bourbon barrel cask and things like that.
Right.
So maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it actually comes from cask number 5260. That's pretty damn cool. Like, you know, you're given all of this, and you're also given the limited availability of this thing.
Yep.
I actually found it at a Wine Totally.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was distributed through them or like if a bunch of little stores got it too. I don't know how that works.
Well, since you've had it, I mean, I've
Yeah.
started noticing stores have. I've seen the bag. I haven't looked at them close enough to see if it's the same thing, the same Gulf Coast edition.
Well, the bag itself, like real quick, that's just like a sticker. That's not anything. So like the bag is sexy, but it's just a sticker that says what this thing is. So I'm assuming that they're doing that with all of that kind of thing.
Interestingly enough, like the maps that I'm looking at of like the different Scotch regions,
Yeah.
they either include Orkney in the Highlands or they include it in, I think, which is becoming a more kind of like offshoot, is the islands.
Yeah.
Not just Speyside. Speyside still is its own, or not Speyside, but Isla is still its own individual island.
Right.
But then they also have like the islands.
Correct.
But some maps still include it in the Highlands.
Well, and that's you know, I think like when you think, if you know anything about Scotland and the geography, the Hebrides are the islands on the western side of Scotland.
Right.
So like Isla is part of that kind of island chain.
Right.
If you've ever seen Scotland, like the islands on the western side are just all jagged and craggy.
Islandy.
Yeah, islandy. But then there are the islands, which are the northern islands, so like Orkney, Shetland, like those kind of islands,
Right.
Which are north Scotland,
Right.
like way out there kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. Anyway, so you want to get into it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
How was that?
That was great.
That was a good pop, huh?
That was good pop.
That was a good
I'm
promo.
shocked that there's not more of this bottle going.
I can tell you why. Because when I had my pour,
Yeah.
because I did this on a fresh crack. So
Right.
I featured this on a fresh crack.
Right.
I did my pour and I went,
Is that posted?
I think so.
Did you post that one?
Pretty sure. Maybe.
On the Patreon?
I think it was posted on the Patreon. Okay. Yeah, I mean that's the
Y'all
only,
let us know.
Yeah, that's the only place where I'm posting the fresh cracks. As of right, I mean
Not true. I mean, it could be on YouTube.
Sure, that's a good point.
That's what I'm saying.
Now that you question, I don't really know. But anyway, I did it on the fresh crack.
Yep.
And then took my sip.
Yep.
And
Sipped
went,
it.
I need Kyle to try this before I drink any more of this.
Yeah.
Because first of all, I know it's rare. And second of all, why did I just close it again? That was stupid. Second of all, holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the fact that it's 131 points.
Yeah. Well, and just looking at it in the bottle, it is freaking dark.
It is really
compared to like
dark,
regular
yeah.
Highland Park 12 is, if I remember correctly, pretty
I think so.
lightly colored.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's because of the sherry cask. I don't really know.
Sure. I would imagine probably is.
Here you are, sir.
Thank you.
One for me. God, like I literally just.
That was a.
I feel
That's
bad.
why you're better.
I feel bad.
Yeah, that's like a couple bucks for you right there.
Anyone walks in this room, they're gonna be like, "Damn, what happened in here?"
Y'all having a couple of episodes, huh?
Wow! Like, look at this.
Yeah, dude. You can't drive anywhere after this.
Well, you're driving home, so I'm gonna wipe it all over my pants.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's one of your bigger
pores,
bigger spills there. Like
on my hands, it smells delicious.
Look, I recently shared a video on Patreon about all the times that I'll start talking and
Just move away.
nowhere near me. I was like, yeah, no, it's not a full episode until I talk into the air and not the mic. And I was going to add on to that, or Nick spills alcohol on himself. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I should have done it.
You should have done it because it definitely is a thing. Look how beautiful this looks. And man, that is dark AF.
Yeah, that's super dark.
My glass is not as full as yours because I'm wearing half of my glass.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
We can switch.
No, I mean whatever you want to do.
Touch my glass.
Okay, that's a sexy lineup right there.
Indeed, it is.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's surprisingly dark.
You know what? I'm gonna say the color, how dark this is. It's related to the sherry cask. Did it say that it was aged in sherry cask? First fill European oak sherry butt.
Yeah, it's all on your bag.
Oh, please enjoy responsibly. Well, I will do that. It's the same thing. It's on the bottle.
Yeah, first fill European oak sherry butt.
But okay.
So yeah, it's European oak cask with
Yeah.
I would imagine a sherry butt stave.
There it is. Got it.
there.
So you get a little bit of the sherry.
Yeah.
Not full sherry.
Well,
holy
I don't know.
crap.
I smell a lot of sherry,
Dude,
which is really weird because I have an
Wow.
aunt whose name's Sherry.
Oh,
So
I smell that sherry.
yeah, Woo, I smell a lot of sherry.
Like
Not in a good way. In a good way.
way. Listen,
Completely healthy, safe, Alabama way.
that doesn't help. That does not help your situation, bud. Oh, whoa, man! Like you're sherry, your sherry.
Yep.
Like that is way.
My sherry,
I was hoping that's what I would get.
You got it.
Thanks. It is like, it's like creamy. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
it's like sweet. It's like
I get that.
Like a sweet cream note.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah, a lot of not bakery, but confectionery.
Yeah.
I was trying to think what's the French term. But it's not-
Patisserie?
Patisserie.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Which is just a bakery, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe that's not it.
Okay.
Because that's pastry. But it is. I guess it
Patisserie.
is in that realm. But I'm just thinking of all like the creams and the
Oh, like almost like a Danish.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
those glazes.
exactly. It reminds me a little bit of like a Krispy Kreme donut. Oh God,
I definitely do get like bear claw.
Yeah.
Or those kinds of like overly glazed cinnamon roll kind of a thing.
You know what? Now that it's like officially sort of fall in Florida, even though it's 95 degrees outside in November,
The calendar says it's fall.
like I am in a Scotch mood, and in fact, like I know next week our episode's also gonna feature Scotch, and this is what I love about Scotch is that you have such vast differences.
Yeah, such a range.
Exactly. Like not that bourbon can't have a range and rye can't have a range, but like, dude. I feel like the Scotch regions are so incredibly distinct.
Yeah.
And then when you add variations within those regions, such as this, it's like mind blowing.
Right. Now this
Oh, man.
is reminding me, and I don't know if I'm like way off base here. I probably am, but it's reminding me. It has like those elements that you get from like the Detling,
Okay.
or that Balcones rye.
Like it's not the thing it's supposed to be, kind of thing. But it's not. That's not a knock on it. It's just like
Perhaps,
Yeah.
Where it's like it's not like if I just nose this blindly,
sure.
I don't know that I could be able to say, "Yep, Scotch."
Oh, I 100% agree.
Like
if you poured this and didn't tell me it was Scotch,
Yeah,
I
I'd
absolutely
kind of struggle. Like
I would no way.
I might lean rum almost in
I
a
would.
way.
You're right. I would know. There would not be there. I would never say this is Scotch.
Yeah, definitely like sherry, but
Yeah. I would say it's a strong wine, like an ice wine or something like that.
oh yeah, you kind of get like almost like a port.
Hey, enough sniffing. Time for sipping.
Yeah,
Going in. Hot damn.
yeah, that's gonna take a minute. Acclimate.
Wow. That'll clear some nostrils.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh man. Oh, okay. Whoa. 2 sips in, still acclimating here, but I'm starting to be able to to parse out some like really beautiful things going on here.
Yep.
Okay. Here's what I get. I get dark fruit, like almost like fruit that's like fermented, but it's like it's meant to be that way. Like almost like fruit that's like sat in wine and like has fermented in the wine, and you're taking like a bite of that fruit.
Yep.
And I'm getting like a heavy dark chocolate, like a really like like Ghirardelli makes those midnight. I think it's midnight. It's like an 85 or 90% cocoa or something like that.
Right.
Like it is dark, bitter, delicious.
Right off the bat, like we were saying, like about the confusion of what this is.
Yeah.
I think if I sipped this, I would think it was a cognac.
Oh yeah, you're not wrong.
It's got a lot of those kind of like there's a little raisin.
Yep.
In it.
Does that mean?
But it kind of bites my tongue and leaves kind of a little bittery note at the end.
Right.
That I think it's really kind of similar to a cognac.
Because of that cognac nature, you're not liking it?
That's not what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just it has a lot of those characteristics.
Say similar things. To me,
because I've never had a cognac at 131. And 131, that makes me really happy.
I think this proof is challenging. Very similar to the Booker's, where that proof is challenging. But it is correct in that I feel like if this were a lower proof, it'd be way too sweet, and you wouldn't have the offset of the sweet.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it would be interesting to water it down to that.
Yeah.
I'd almost be concerned, like, would it cut the sweetness, or would it cut something else and makes the sweetness prominent, or it might cut the sweetness and make more of the kind of oaky nature or something come through.
Yeah. I'm not opposed to adding a drop of water and seeing what happens to it.
Oh yeah, no, me neither. It's a really bright caramel note on the front of it, where I feel like a lot of times when I'm talking caramel, it's more of a darker caramel.
Yeah.
Because we're usually talking about bourbon.
Sure.
But this caramel is really, I mean, just like as you're cooking the caramel, like as soon as you saw like the slightest change in color, you pulled it off.
Yep. Yeah. And it's not peated, so there's no peat at all.
Oh yeah, which is a little strange.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's Highland Park and there's no remnants of any kind of peat.
No. Which, I think about how peat changes the liquid, and I almost like, wow, I would be interested to see what a peated sherry cask single malt edition of this at 131.6 would do.
Right. Actually,
I appreciate that. I think like for me, that might add too much complexity, because this is already complex AF. I mean, this is not a Scotch for the faint of heart. There's so much to unravel. It's like you're unpacking it, and it's almost like this is a whiskey that if you're gonna sit with, you're gonna sit with, and you're gonna really think about what are you getting in this. I mean, even with like I'm still battling at the end of a cold here. Right. And I'm still like, whoa, here's something new. Well, here's another thing that's new. Like, you got this too? Wow.
Yeah. At this point, probably like halfway through.
Yeah.
And the sweetness is not as prominent as it was. And the oak and everything else now is starting to come through much more clearly. with like a really like nice like herbal bitter at the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice that it's evolving that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, this is something that like I'm glad I bought it, but would I want another bottle? This bottle was north of 100.
Mm-hmm.
So, I feel like bottles north of 100, they're investment bottles.
Right.
And I bought it kind of on a whim. And I think I told you this story. Like I went into a Wine Totally. I was looking for some other stuff. I saw that on a shelf. I grabbed it because I was like, don't know what this is. Grabbed it and started doing a little bit of research on my phone as much as I could. The service in that Wine Totally is always terrible for some reason.
Well, it's a big store.
Warehouse, right?
Any kind of those stores.
Sure. With a lot of glass and
yeah.
So I kind of like walk away and I set it down on a shelf and I go down another aisle and I'm like, man, this is a bit of an investment bottle.
Right.
However, all right, I'm going to go back through. I've never seen this before. Kyle and I have never talked about it, which I think it is to some degree saying something because, I mean, we have quite a lot of conversations around whiskey and like, I've never seen this. I don't know anything about it.
Right.
And I like Highland Park. So I'm going to go back around and if it's still there, because there was like 3 people in this whole store.
You made that deal with the devil.
Yeah. I was like, if it's still there,
one of these 3 people wants it.
Yeah. Because I went in for some other pretty high price stuff. It was around my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided against the other stuff and went with this. And I'm happy I did. But would I buy another bottle? I would not. Because I think it's that like, this is cool. The expression's cool. I don't need this again. This is not something I would want to necessarily keep on my shelf.
Sure. Yeah, I think that like I've put a lot of thought into those types of collection pieces myself recently.
Right.
Would you go back to it? And I mean, this is a single cask.
Yep.
So there is the potential for movement.
Oh, for sure.
Within that kind of aspect of it. But yeah, I mean, that was like the intrigue of bottles of that price range of like, was it spectacular enough that I'd go back and need it again?
Right.
Probably not, because 90% of the time the whole thing that you're going after is like, I've never experienced it.
Exactly.
And it's worth the purchase for that first time.
For sure.
To have the experience.
Yep, absolutely.
So it's going to have to be a hell of an experience, though, to warrant, I'll go at that again.
And I think, like, yes, it's an investment bottle, but it's not cost prohibitive. It's not a $300 bottle where, like, you've got to really check yourself if you're going to do that. But it's one that's like, do I need to spend this to have that experience again? Or would I rather buy 3 other bottles for the same price and get 3 other experiences?
Yeah, totally.
And that's kind of where I am.
Well, and I think an interesting aspect to that too is what do I have, or do I know something right off the bat that is either similar or better than this? For sure. That I could rather go to instead?
Sure.
That's a big aspect of when I'm thinking about it also.
Yep.
Like, nah, like that was really good. I really enjoyed it. And I wouldn't go back to it because I can get that for half price. And it's pretty darn close.
Exactly. Well, and I guess like back to what you said about, this is a single cask. If there was another version, I'm not saying I wouldn't buy another cask of it to try that.
Right.
But like, would I go back and buy a second bottle of this exact cask? No.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I am really enjoying this. And I think it's a phenomenal pour to me. It's also one of those, like, I had the thing. I like the thing. I'm good.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Like recently, I've had that conversation in my head of like bottles that like what warrants like an immediate backup.
Exactly.
And like I totally had one recently.
What was that?
The Krigaliki.
Oh yeah.
Because one, have not seen. I rarely ever see that bottle.
Yep. Yeah.
And I knew a store that still had one, and I was like, yeah, I like this enough that if I go back and they've still got it, I'm getting that bottle.
Yeah.
Because it's that good.
Yeah.
It's that good, and it's just hard to find.
Chattanooga Scotch cask. Same idea.
Right.
I know we didn't actually do that, but same idea.
Well, I keep saying I need a backup, and every time I go to that place, they got something else that I'm more interested in.
I'll do you one. High West Campfire. The first time I had that, I feel like the recipes changed a little bit because I feel like this bottle, and if you're watching on Patreon, YouTube, you can see the bottle behind me. I think this is different. There's something about it that's different.
Right.
Well, it does.
Did they not make it for a couple of years?
They did, but they only released it in Utah.
So I wonder if that was like limited.
I don't know
stuff.
I'm gonna say
because they don't distill?
Yes, they do. But this is a this High West campfire is a combination of Scotch, rye, and then their distillate. But they're not obviously releasing where we're getting the Scotch.
What we're getting what?
Right. So I'm gonna say that something changed.
Is the rye their distillate?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, now that you say it, I'm not really sure. But I'm going to say something changed with whatever blend or whatever Scotch that they're getting that from.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to say
that would probably
something has changed there.
Probably most likely.
Yeah. Now the why I say that is because, or why I bring that up, like the Campfire was a bottle that the first bottle I bought was a bottle immediately. I'm like, I need another one. I went to go find one, ain't one to find.
Right.
And so when I got this one, I was totally about to buy like 2 or 3 bottles of it, and I was like, let's try it, and then we'll go from there.
Right.
And it's delicious, but it wasn't that same kind of gut reaction of like, I need another one.
Right.
So, but I put a couple drops of water in mine just to see what happens. You want to put a couple drops in yours?
Blip, 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 blip.
Just a little bit of water. I mean, like a couple drips off the finger kind of thing. There it is. Ooh, you know what? I mean, that was a very scientific, like, how many drips did you put in? I don't know.
17.
Off the finger?
Right off the finger.
Little salty finger water. Salty finger water.
You seen those videos of, it's like they're at like in a restaurant in perhaps Italy or somewhere over in Europe, and dude's got like this big container of wine that has like this long fluted open to it, and he's got it capped at his finger, and so he goes around and like lets the finger go, pours wine in somebody's goblet, and then stops it, and goes over the next
With
one.
his finger?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, this is probably like 5 years ago or so, the video. Because, like, that shit ain't going to fly anymore, man. Like,
well,
not in this,
Europe.
Not in this, well, I wouldn't even think even in Europe.
Yeah.
But, but it's like, then everybody else does, like, stuff where they're taking a glass and they're just, like, holding their finger over it and then pouring the wine over their finger.
What's it supposed to do? Are they like aerating it? Is that like
well, that's people making fun of the other video.
Okay, I'm with you. Yeah, man, a little drop of water, like it way just like rounds the edges of the proof here. And you just get like this beautiful, sweet, like floral, almost like orange note.
Yeah, I could go orange peel.
Like orange peel,
1000%.
not like, your general citrus note. I'm saying like orange peel.
Dried orange peel.
Yeah, like that like super dry potpourri orange peel. You're like, what the hell is that thing? Exactly. But in a good way. Does it take the edge off for you on the nose?
I didn't have an edge on the nose.
See, I
think was my thing. Like it wasn't like sharp.
Right.
It's a gorgeous nose.
Oh, for sure.
I get like I'm reminded of those like chocolate orange candies.
Yep.
Like the milk chocolate with an orange flavoring.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yep.
I wasn't getting much of a chocolate, like you were saying dark chocolate earlier. I wasn't getting much of a chocolate then, but yeah, now I'm getting like a milk chocolatey kind of a thing.
Dude, I already dove into it.
Cocoa powder.
I already dove into it. I gotta be honest with you. A little bit of water, I like that way better. Like that is substantially better. And I rarely ever say that.
You know what's interesting is, and I wonder if that's like part of the aspect of like when you put just a little bit of water there, you're gonna put like almost like a layer of something that's separating your tongue from the alcohol.
Correct.
So it's almost like, so it's not as aggressive.
Exactly.
Right on the tongue.
Yeah. That makes me really wish that I did that with the Booker's, because like we both said that the Booker's was aggressive, and I really wish I would have like just a little drop of water. You've got some really nice, you got a decanter with some really nice water in there. That good old Florida.
Real nice Florida tap water. It's filtered.
It's filtered. Correct. But like that is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And
I get a lot of butterscotch.
Yeah. And I don't think either of us are people that like, that's normally our go-to of like, no, give it a couple drops. I mean, I'm not opposed to it by any means.
I'm becoming more of a fan of that.
I am too. But I want to taste the thing as it's meant to be tasted, in terms of like, this is what you bottled it at, that you meant for it to be this way. But then like, I almost like want to do some alchemy myself. I'm like, you know what though? Let's round it out here. Like, let's see what that does. And if it doesn't work, totally fine with that. Like, that didn't work. Like, it made it worse, or no, it drowned it out. But that made it better. Wow.
Yeah. Like I've got a bottle of It's my last bottle that I've got that I've purchased of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Yeah.
And that son of a bitch kicks so hard, like more than anything that I feel like I've ever had.
Yeah.
And
that's the recent bottle, right?
Well, recent being 2 years ago. And that thing is so aggressive. And it always has been. It's always been like just on the edge of too much. I remember,
yeah.
But now I the past probably like 4 times that I've had it, drop an ice cube in there, let that melt. It has a nice cool touch to it.
Yep.
And it makes that drink one of the best I've ever had.
You know, Whiskey Twitter and Whiskey Facebook, they're like, what the hell, you guys? Like, you are not purists.
And I've tried. I've even gone back and tried. Like, all right, so those must have just been off days or something other.
Right.
And go back and like still like no, it's just it's too aggressive.
Yep.
When you plop that, I mean, my ice cubes that I've got are like they're like dimes.
Yeah.
They're tiny little pieces of cube. One cube in there, you let that melt.
Sure.
And that's the sweet spot for that.
Yeah. You know, and like, I mean, how many times have we said, drink it how you like it. Figure out what you like and drink it how you like it. Explore.
Yeah.
Branch out, but drink it how you like it. And like for me, when you get something like this and you're like, oh, that's it, definitely. That's how I want to drink this. Now, I'm not saying like I'm not opposed to trying it again and working through the cask full force cask strength version, but like a little bit of water, just a drip drop, and you're good to go. Man,
this goes into
fantastic.
that rich category.
Yes,
this is so rich, and it's very much like a dessert whiskey.
Oh yeah,
like fudge.
Yep.
You know, like it's in that realm of like,
woo,
so rich. But yeah,
can I just say real quick about the locking cap on this on all Highland Park? Actually, I think it's a safety feature. It's a safety feature to make sure that like you don't spill any of this unless you unless you can't pour it in.
Unless that's a struggle.
Right. Hey, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
Now that we've got what I think is a great drink.
Yep.
Something that's interesting, something that's challenging, something that is rare, kind of hard to find, something that I'm quite pleased with. What do you want to talk about this week?
Something that I've started seeing a pattern of just noticing it and have always thought it was an interesting thing. I recently saw a video and I texted it over to you, be like, hey, what do you think? This might be like an interesting episode. It was a video of what I think were, I don't know if it was tomato plants or if it was apple orchard. I don't remember at this point. But anyways, it was some sort of a harvesting vehicle that was going through there that had these drones attached to it. And it was going off into the orchard, finding the fruit, removing it from the plant and bringing it back over to the truck and collecting all of the fruit.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God. Like, it was this amazing thing. Like, I remember having the same reaction of like hearing the news the first time of like the Amazon drones that were going to deliver packages to people's doorsteps and stuff like that. Of like, wow, like that's where we're at in the timeline of, the robot takeover of iRobot. This is where we are.
It's when we see Schwarzenegger, that's when we know we need to go.
Yeah, when they start naming anything TI 80 something, it's time to make your plans.
Pack it up.
Yeah. Start digging your bunker.
Your dunkel?
Your dunghole bunker.
You dunghole bunker? Dunkhole bunker.
But no, it just made me start thinking about like how automated things are becoming. And like, I feel like, agriculture in general being like the kind of the first step in our industrial aged journey.
Right.
The invention of agriculture was like step number one.
Yep.
And the fact that like now we're, granted, the leaps and bounds that they've made in harvesting equipment and things like that is obviously like amazing. You don't need armies of people anymore to do the task.
Sure.
But, it's just the next step of, hey, now we're going to use drones to friggin' fly off into the trees, pluck the fruit and bring them back. And it's like totally taking us into this like next generation sci-fi landscape that I thought was just really interesting, just the concept of automation.
That word, automation, man, you say that word and it...
Automation.
Ooh.
Like that?
Yeah, do it one more time.
Automation. Automation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Separating the syllables.
Automation. Yeah.
Oh, that just went real creepy.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. I don't know.
Like
if I
miss minutes almost.
Yeah, I don't know if I can be in the same room as you right now. Like that.
Like you're too turned on? No? Oh. My bad.
That got me. Oh my god, it's too Turkish in here right now.
Woo!
Yeah.
Sorry, safe word.
No, more of like I'm creeped out by that, the way the intonations there. No, you say that word automation. Too turned on. Got me. You say that word automation, and like it will set the social medias ablaze because like people have people have such strong views on what that word means and the implications behind it. And what we're talking about ultimately is like that idea of robots or some sort of computer based whatever doing human jobs.
Sure.
And what I mean by like set, the social media people ablaze is like people like, how dare you take our jobs? And then there's people who are like, no, like let's absolutely, like who wants to go out there and pick tomatoes or apples or whatever it was, for 15 hours a day? Absolutely. If we can create something that does it, why not?
Right.
Where do you kind of fall? Is this automation? And like, I don't know, let me define some things first.
Okay.
For me, automation is not only the harvester kind of thing that you talked about, but automation is also self-checkout. Automation is also
self-checkout's like a great example.
Exactly.
Like that we've, I remember seeing it the first time and being like, what the hell is that?
Exactly.
And I'm like very skeptical of it.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I rarely ever go to it unless I've only got like one or two things.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not doing a whole cart.
Yeah, I don't want to do a whole cart.
Wise.
Yeah. But two, it just doesn't seem practical to me. Of like, I feel like you've got to be getting ripped off.
So let's talk about that. But there's the automation in that way. Like to me, that's part of automation.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, vending machines. Also like self-scan anything. Yep.
Or like you're removing a situation in which
Amazon as a whole.
Amazon as a whole. Situations like there are like my local Chili's. Okay. Which I say it's not like a patron.
It's yours.
Well, no. Well, I am an investment partner. And actually they're sponsoring this episode.
No shit.
Yeah. Baby back, Dreppin' Stone. You know what I'm saying? You never heard that? That's everywhere, man.
Okay.
Well, you don't have real TV.
That's true.
You just got the streaming TV.
Yep.
Yeah. Flip on real TV, and that's the jingle.
Yeah.
Baby back,
I don't
baby
have
back,
Peacock.
baby
It's on
back.
Peacock.
Dreppin' Stone. Yeah. But like the local Chili's has a robot that will like take you to your seat. It's a host robot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen like those the like fast food, not fast food, but like especially like I think it's in like New York where they've got like the robots that will deliver food.
Oh yeah.
Takeout.
Yeah.
Takeout drones.
Yeah. Or like
But I've seen a lot of videos of like random people like kicking those over on purpose. Just like piss people off.
Yeah. Or even like, most McDonald's now, you don't actually order food with the person.
Indeed,
you order food on a screen.
You talked about that at some point.
Yeah, and like
not have to have an interaction.
Exactly. And you just walk up, you order on the screen, and then like a person at this point hands you your food.
Well, and as a cheerleader for that,
yeah,
I went to a Chick-fil-A the other day. And
can we say that?
I went to a Chick-fil-A, and the guy that we ordered from was too much. It was almost to the point of like, should we complain when we get up?
Was it like, my pleasure?
No.
Oh.
He was like, what's the name for your order? Oh, that's a really nice name. It almost sounds like your real name. What's your actual name?
He's like hamming it hard.
And this was to my wife. So she's like, it's Maria. That's actually my name. Oh, cool. What's your name going to be tomorrow?
That's
interesting.
weird.
What's it going to be the next day?
Oh.
And he kept going and kept going. And he did this throughout the entire order of like, just like, dude.
Too much.
This is why they've invented the machines that you can just go to and push buttons and order stuff. Sure. You're not making this better. Like, you're not making me like,
I don't want to
reminisce over, oh man, I remember when you used to go up and talk to a person.
Right.
No, you're killing it, man. Like you are absolutely destroying it. So I'm for it.
Well, okay, that brings me to another point. Automation as a whole. for it, against it?
I'm generally for it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I want to recognize that like my for it also comes from a position of my job currently is not a position that would be highly affected by automation in its current iterations. Like I think all positions could be affected by automation at some point, but I think like right now as being an educator, yeah, there are tons of things that like are filling that that void, if you will. But I think right now there's not like automation in the way of like I go up to screen, I pay the money, I do the thing, I get the product. Like I think of like automation in that way as like being a very like transactional kind of thing.
But I mean, but at the same time, like there are absolutely examples of that.
Oh, for sure.
For teaching. I mean, you download any
so.
kind of a tutorial on a thing.
100% so.
Like that definitely exists.
I would say like anyone who says like, well, my job will never be taken away by automation is living a pipe dream. Because I think anything can. What I mean by that is like, I am not someone who makes a living harvesting fruit or makes a living, you know, flipping burgers to give to paying customers in that way.
Right.
So like, I think like those front line kind of like jobs where you see automation happening so readily, like I'm not affected in that way yet.
Right. I'm talking about in terms of as the consumer side of it.
Sure.
I'm for it. You know, that's okay. Like talking about it in terms of like we remove, you know, we live in a society where we generally take care of everyone regardless of who they are, what they are, or why they are. We just decided we're going to take care of these people. Right. We're going to make sure that like you've got what you need to live.
Sure.
You know, and enjoy a happy life.
Right.
And that's the society that I'm talking about.
Oh, like
when I'm saying that, like, so then automate everything.
I got you. So automation is a trek to Star Trek and the Jetsons.
Sure.
in like the utopic way that those things are presented.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you. Like, while I am skeptical of some automation, as a whole, I feel like it streamlines things. It makes the experience. Ooh, now that I'm thinking about this, like it can make the experience better in that like I don't have to talk to a person.
Sure.
But also like I also like the talking to a person in some cases.
I should take you to Chick-fil-A. I know a guy.
Well,
he'll ruin that for you real quick.
Well, okay. I guess what I'm saying is like, you know,
no, I totally get what you mean.
We come back to, or I come back to our experience this summer on the cruise. Okay. We had a great meal that like no robot could have delivered that experience. It was a culmination of the chef coming out and talking to us. Our waiter was freaking amazing. He knew everything. He couldn't say the word Idaho. It was great. And it was him that made that experience. It wasn't robot comes out, drops the food off, have a great day. Have a great day. It wasn't that. It was the very curated nature of that. So like I see both sides, and yet in almost every situation, the opportunity that the automation provides in terms of time, I love that.
Yeah, but I think you're also being a little
humanist, maybe.
No, I'm sure, but I'm just saying in terms of what you're depicting as that robot coming out, beep boop, here's your food. Come on, man.
Okay.
Like it's gonna be like a Data android, like from Star Trek. Data's gonna come out, and Data is gonna give you the thing. Here's when these seeds were planted.
Listen, I saw Aliens.
He will do.
Or was it Alien?
I mean, sure,
it was Alien.
But I think personally, I think we're going there anyway.
Sure.
Like that is the evolution of the human species is going to be that's our
Sigourney Weaver.
Sure. It's not the Danger Will Robinson robot with his gloopy arms delivering your food to you. It's gonna be
air duct arms.
Yeah.
Gloopy. I like that.
It's gonna be like a really slick presentation.
Oh,
it's gonna
you're right.
Knock your socks off, and they'll know everything and be able to pronounce Idaho in Mandarin. I think we'll still have all of those elements of it.
Right. So you're saying that like in the future it will be the personal touch is built into the interface,
into the program, and you can select how much of a personal touch do you want. Do you want it at a 10? Do you want it at a 5? Do you want it at a 3.72?
Hey Tars, what's your truth setting or whatever it is?
Yeah. Your sarcasm. You back that off.
Yeah, bring that. That's like one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
So good.
That was brilliant.
Just back that down to a crisp 8, please. Okay, so self checkouts.
Yep.
That to me is like the base form of automation. And you already said like you're not a big fan. I will say I'm not a big fan either for things that like 5 items, like 5 to 10. 10's pushing it. After that, like, nope, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, because it's not efficient enough yet.
Exactly.
If I could just push my cart up there and you scan the whole cart, and then tell me what I owe you,
right?
I'll start doing it.
Well, guess who
I'm
has
the
figured that
lazy
out?
bastard that needs to like now pull all this stuff out and scan it, and now I've got to enter in a code because this isn't scanning right. Now I need help.
Yep.
Hey, I need over here because this isn't working.
Or I scan my beer and they're gonna have to come to me anyway.
Yeah,
I gotta check my shit.
So I would much rather just go over to the person that can already do all those things.
Well, listen, listener of the show, friend of the podcast, Jeff Bezos has figured all of that out. By the way, yeah. So I want to talk about that.
He's not a friend of the podcast. Like, don't stop listening to us because we know Jeff Bezos.
Oh, is that a polarizing? That's
Bezos.
A polarizing thing, isn't it? Okay.
I think he's.
So should we kick him off of Patreon or like leave him on there because he's donating a lot?
No, we'll leave him on.
Oh, okay.
We'll gladly accept his funds.
Monetary Jeff Bezos all day. Personal Jeff Bezos, no? Question mark. Anyway, so to me, that's like the efficiency. I agree. The efficiency aspect is like the individual like checkout clerk person, whatever you want to say. Like that person is far more efficient at scanning 50 items than I am at scanning 5.
Sure.
Because like they know how to do that.
Yep.
And there's no trouble there.
Right.
So for me, I don't want to be, and maybe this is a kind of like stick it to the man kind of thing. The company is essentially getting free labor out of me because I am the one who's scanning my own stuff and I'm getting no benefit out of it other than I guess you could say like time benefit. But like if I had to scan 50 items, I'm getting no benefit. Now, if there were a cost benefit or like, hey, you'll get, 10 cents off of each item if you scan it yourself.
Right.
I could see that. Like that's an argument, but I would rather, even that interaction with the person who's scanning stuff, I would much rather that in the efficiency wise than like have to scan 50 items myself.
Right. Which is where I think a lot of people are getting a benefit.
What do you mean?
Because they're not scanning shit. And they're just putting it, they're just keeping it in the cart.
Just walking out? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
That's what I don't get about it. That's what blows my mind about it. Of like, it seems so easy to steal.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure they've got cameras, and I'm sure like that there's some sort of a algorithm set up to like, hey, y'all need to check that person or something. Has to be
sure.
But at the same time, it's just like, and y'all have got to be getting took for stuff constantly.
So maybe that's the trade-off. Like you can't give me money off because y'all get screwed on the other end.
As long as I don't steal more than 5 items, you're gonna let me leave the store.
But on the other side, like now instead of like I can have 6 self-checkout. And I don't have to pay 6 clerks. So like, there's my money made up, even if people walk out with stuff.
Right.
So maybe that's it. I don't know how that. That what is that called? Like a lost leader or lost something. I forget what the term is. Like I'm okay with losing money on this,
right?
Because I'm actually
saving money so much here that it all balances out.
Or you do what Amazon has done with their. I forget the name of the stores. The stores have like cameras everywhere, and I did this in Seattle. It was freaking cool. And you walk in, it was like a I don't know if they have full grocery stores yet. I know that Amazon does, but I don't know if they're fully automated in this way. But they're like convenience.
Well, don't they own?
They own
Whole
Foods now. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that all Whole Foods are going to go this eventually. But like it's more like the experience I had was a convenience store kind of thing where you went in, there was like, drinks and cookies and snacks and like small grocery items, but you scanned like a QR code for your Amazon account. And then you picked up an item and you could look like at the screen and it would automatically debit that item from your account. If you put the item back, it would credit the item to your account. And then you just scan on your way out and walk away. And like, that experience as like creepy and Big Brother-esque as that is, I freaking loved it. Because I was like, I don't have to talk to anybody. I just walk in, scan the thing. Now, to be fair, there's nobody to ask questions. Like, there was a person in the back, like, stocking stuff. But there's nobody to ask questions about things. But, like, that's not the point of it. You're just running in, grabbing something, and, getting out.
Yeah. They've updated our break rooms at the Mouse House to do that.
Oh.
So
in what way?
We used to have maybe 4 or 5 vending machines options. But now it's more just an open market where you have like a cooler section with doors that you can open up and pull out things. They have a bunch of, snacky chips and granola bars and all that kind of stuff too. So, there's 2 registers at the ends, and you just kind of walk up and there's obviously like cameras pointed, and you create an account on the terminal.
Yep.
And so you just go up and scan what you got, boop, debit it from my account.
Gloopy arms.
Ready? Bleep, bloop, bleep, bloop. Here's your bloop. Enjoy.
They had to use old animatronic Abe Lincoln for something.
Yeah. Don't waste technology that you got sitting there.
No, definitely not. So
was that my Abe Lincoln voice? Was that what that was? Is that
no.
Bleep, bloop, 407 years ago?
That's exactly what I picture Abe Lincoln to sound like.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. I don't think that any of this is going away by any means.
Yeah, no way.
Like, I mean, we're diving into this even more.
I remember, a decade ago watching a documentary about dairy farms,
right?
And stuff, and it's, at that point in time, it was talking about how we have a profession that people just don't want to do this job. Like we can go to the unemployment thing.
Office.
There you go. We can go to the unemployment office. We cannot find people to do this job.
Right.
So
we will pay them very well. They still won't do it.
Yeah, our options are to either bring in the people who will illegally, or we upgrade all the facilities to these machines, and that's just kind of the options because people will not do these jobs.
Correct.
And I think especially nowadays, like the first jobs to go, or to get automated, are the ones that just nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, it's these very manual, hard labor, or even dangerous situation jobs.
Right, and we live in an age, and there's like so many aspects to that.
Well, to me, like first and foremost, there's first of all, like the time, the effort, and safety of the thing. Like you're thinking of like.
I'm saying like specifically in the instance of like the cashiers.
Oh, okay.
And stuff like that. It's not like a safety issue necessarily.
Sure.
Certainly like in some aspects of like, we probably don't need people to actually work in gas stations anymore because like shit always goes down in a gas station. Like that should just be completely automated and like take that out of it and whatever. But like certainly in the Industrial Revolution, that era and stuff like that, absolutely automate these things so we're not killing people and they're not losing limbs on these machines.
I guess that's how I'm approaching it. Of like, do I need an individual to rivet the doors of my car together? Because I know, first of all, how stressful that situation is. Not that I've been in that situation, but like that kind of Henry Ford, what's it called? Production line?
Production line sounds really good, but I don't feel like that's like...
No. Assembly line.
Assembly line. There it is.
That kind of Henry Fordian? Does that make sense?
Freudian.
No, different guy.
Oh.
Yeah. But like the dangers of that kind of thing of like your whole day is put these 2 rivets here.
Right.
Like, no.
Yeah, get a machine that'll do that. Yeah. Get them taught to where they need to be every single time.
Every single time. Boom, 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 done. So like in a safety aspect, like absolutely, if you want to pump these things out, man, a robot doesn't matter.
Or like the videos that you've seen of like a Coca-Cola assembly line where they're filling 10,000 bottles in 5 minutes.
Exactly.
Just the efficiency alone. That's fine.
Correct. And so like the argument,
it's going to take me a long time to fill that many bottles.
I mean, you've seen me pour whiskey into a glass.
Yeah, there's so much wasted product.
Exactly. So like when you think about efficiency in that way, I'm 100% for it. But the argument is that this is taking away those kind of lower wage entry level jobs that people depend on.
Right.
And I also absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
And I get that. But I think to me it's a shift of perspective in terms of like how we've dealt with these things.
Right.
And, anytime anything changes, you're going to have people who are reticent to change.
Sure.
And I get it because change is fucking hard. But like we are very clearly moving in that direction. And I'm not saying like, let's give ourselves, wholeheartedly to the thing.
Right.
But we have to stop like rallying against it and think about, okay, so this is where we're headed. How now do we deal with these things?
Sure.
What can we give the worker, I don't want to characterize anyone negatively, but the unskilled, low wage worker, what can we do for them to give them the ability to become a skilled, higher wage worker? I don't know how to put that differently, but like it's just a shift in perspective.
Sure. And unfortunately, that's like a whole separate thing, even though they're completely connected and build upon each other.
Right.
But because they are separate issues, the people who are working to do this thing aren't concerned about that.
Right.
And that's like a more of a societal issue
Sure.
of, no, that's fantastic that we've got this thing now and we can utilize that and that's going to be great for everybody. But now then that we've done that and it's created this problem, we can also rally and solve that problem too.
Right.
Probably very easily.
Yep. I watched this video that was talking about like some of these kind of things, and you have Asian countries that are way more automated than we are, and yet these kind of lower wage entry level positions tend to be like maintenance on those things. So it's just a shift in perspective. Right. Versus like, sure, there's an engineer who like if something really goes wrong, like then that, higher level person has to do the thing. Right. But, something, pops out of line or some machine is not working the right way, you can train people to work on these things and do these things. So that position just shifts. Right. And the perspective just shifts. And ultimately, I don't necessarily see a problem with what automation does in terms of gives us all what we want in terms of more leisure time. Mm-hmm. Like that's ultimately what our society, at least here in the West, our society wants. We want more leisure time. Right. We want more time to look at our phones. as bleak as that is, we want more time to do the things that we want to do. Right. To hang out, to talk to people, to do podcasts, to that kind of thing. Right. And automation provides us the ability to do that. Right. I don't see that as a negative.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like we could go on and on and on. I mean, it's coming. There's nothing to stop it, really. No. I mean, look at every sci-fi movie. Right. It's we're all gonna be living with droids at some point in time.
I mean, I got a robot that vacuums my house, man.
I got two. They made out earlier today. We were laughing. They came right to each other and turned around and went opposite ways. It was really sweet.
You don't have an upstairs downstairs one?
No.
Oh, okay.
We don't go upstairs. Don't go upstairs ever.
Got it.
No, we had because now we got the fucking big dog, so we got to have two of those things running.
Oh yeah,
just to try to
control. He's a floofy monster
too. Yeah, we got to control that dog.
Yeah, that's very true.
So we got two running now.
Ooh.
In the living room. Yeah, and that's just because we're too lazy to get and run a vacuum.
I agree.
That's just where society's heading.
Sure.
So you just kind of have to embrace it.
I mean, washing machine, dryer, dishwasher.
Totally. All those things.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what that is.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Good point. Anyway, you got anything else?
I have one last thing.
All right.
I will say I am generally positive about automation. I think that like obviously everything with some checks and balances.
Sure.
Like I don't think like we should dive into it without consideration. But I think ultimately it is going to make life as a whole better, and it's going to make life as a whole hopefully better for more people.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good point of like it's a really delicate balance.
Absolutely.
Of making life easier.
Yep.
But also does it enrich life.
Correct.
And make life
correct
better.
Yeah.
Because easier is not always better.
Do I want to spend 20 minutes washing my dishes, or do I want to set a dishwasher to do it, which might take slightly longer, but it uses less water, and I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You're right. It's that balancing act of all of it. And as long as we're cognizant of that balancing act and we're considerate of that, I think that with those checks and balances, with the understanding of we have to consider all of these facets, I think that I generally think positively of it.
Yeah. Yeah, same.
Well, we'd love to know what you think about, first of all, the Highland Park Single Malt Scotch Whiskey Single Cask Series Gulf Coast Edition.
How many bottles have you had?
Or have you even seen it? Because if you're not a Florida listener, from what I could tell, you ain't even seen it.
Yeah, shouldn't have.
Yeah.
That's what it said on the bottle.
That's what it said on the bottle, or at least
supposed to
our
have it here.
research, one of the two. I can't remember.
Yeah.
We also want to know, what do you think about automation? Where do you fall in the huge gambit of opinions within this?
Ever since I saw Minority Report, I can't wait for, I just want to get in the car and say work.
Sure.
And my car takes me to work.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
I mean, the future is now, man.
Yeah.
It can basically happen right now.
I'm
you
ready
got to
for
pay
it.
for it.
Totally ready for it. I mean, I know they're working
You
on it
got to
out
pay
in
another
California.
billionaire for it.
But,
sure.
I'm ready for it.
I want to know everyone's opinion. Are you generally positive? Are you super scared about it? Are you do you see all the ills and negatives behind it? I'm interested in the arguments surrounding it, because I think it's it's already an interesting topic in terms of politics and economics and perspectives, but I think it's only going to become more so.
Yeah. I mean, as positively and as much as I am kind of cheerleading for it,
sure,
at the same time, I totally understand it could totally be a bad thing.
Oh, dude. Everything in moderation, all good things in moderation, because all good things can very easily become bad things.
Yeah.
So we want to know your thoughts and opinions. You can get in touch with us through email. That's drepandstone@gmail.com. You also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always Drep and Stone. DREP and Stone. It's one word. Come find us, like some things, watch some videos, get a good laugh. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. On that note, you can support Drep and Stone by
just like Jeff Bezos does.
Probably the best way to support the podcast is through Patreon. That's patreon.com/Drep and Stone. There's a lot of freaking cool things going on there, Kyle.
Yeah, definitely the funnest way to support the podcast, because you get something out of it.
I would even go grammatically incorrect and say the most funnest.
Whoa.
I know, and that's saying
That's
a lot.
epically fun.
Epically most funner.
Epically most funnest thing you could possibly ever epically funnest do.
Careful, bud. More superlatives, the better. What we got going on there, Kyle?
We've got a lot of friggin' content going on there. We've got
Yeah, we do.
We do videos about fresh cracks for bottles that we're excited to open up.
Yeah.
We've got videos about just a pour with one or both of us.
Ooh.
Where we do a quick review.
Yeah.
Not something we feature on a full episode.
Got some episode notes.
Episode notes. We've got lots of pictures. We do bloopers on there. For,
Tonight's pour, what we're drinking.
I regret not filming you spilling that drink all over you.
That's okay. It's going to happen again. Don't you worry.
We have a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. We're also doing, in the future, we're trying to plan it out, see how best way to do it. We're doing some hangouts of, us and the Drep and Stoners just hanging out, drinking a pour together, talking about, the week, that kind of thing. And also some of the perks that are going on, you get some really sweet Drep and Stone bottle bags if you want that. You can see one here in the video if this video is up at this point. And if you've seen the Whiskey Cave Lounge, you've seen this. It's pretty prominently featured. We also got rocks glasses. They're pretty sexy. Got our faces on them. Are awesome. So just small perks like that. You can also support Drep and Stone by rating the podcast wherever it is you find great podcasts like this one. And finally, Kyle, you can support Drep and Stone by telling someone, actually physically telling someone, not automated.
Just tell somebody. I don't care what you're doing. Whoever's right next to you, you're at the gym, working out, you're busting out those reps. Hey, you ever watch or listen to Drep and Stone?
What's Drep and Stone?
It's a podcast.
Hold on. Can you spot me for a second?
Yeah.
Drep and Stone.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. So this Drep and Stone, what? Tell me about it.
It's a podcast where two friends raise a glass and they have a conversation. They
I like
drink
glasses.
really cool whiskeys and beers and
I
things.
like beers and
they'll have
whiskeys.
conversations
I like
ranging
conversations.
from comic books to nerdery of all kind.
nerdery,
And
you say.
sometimes
All right.
robots and stuff.
I think I'm going to go to listen to that right now. How do I find it?
Wherever you listen to podcasts, the internet, they're on Instagram, Facebook,
okay.
Twitter.
Yeah, totally.
All over the place.
For sure. I'm going to go find that right now.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Yep. See you later, dude.
See ya. Thanks for spotting me, by the way.
No problem, bro. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Yeah.
Except
Why didn't you spot me? You were standing there the whole time.
I don't spot people.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. You know, shut that door too. Can I leave that, or I gotta take that out?
We need one of the keyboards, you know, like they use, like they have the sound effects. Well, no, it's just the banjo.
Oh,
I
I could probably do that and just put it on there
Probably good.
as a thing, because like
It's an electric banjo.
that was my name in college.
Electric banjo.
It was my bluegrass phase.
Full-time boogaloo.
Electric boogaloo.
Hey,
Enough snipping.
time for shitting.
No snipping, time for shit. We out pruning bushes and gotta take a shit. No snipping, time for shit.
No snipping, time for shitting. You call it sleepy? You call it sleep?
I call it sleep. You got sleep in my eye?
I think it's sleepy. I've always said sleepy.
Do I got sleep in my eye?
Give you sweet dreams. Next night.
That sounds like an Alabama thing.
Yeah. By taxing the rich.
And there it is. So, nope, we're ahead of ourselves.
Yeah. But I was going to go with it.
I can't tell you that story.
Okay.
I've got a pee.